Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to talk to you about this tool right here. This one is called the spot removal tool. So it's kind of like a clone tool, kind of like the Band-Aid healing tools and all that kind of stuff, in that we have a couple of ways of getting the objects that we want to remove to kind of clone or blend or whatever you want to call it based on either a healing or a clone option. Cloning is the same as using the clone stamp tool in Photoshop. Healing is like using the healing brush, the spot healing brush, and the patch tool, all right, where you get a blending of things. Here's the radius of our brush, here's the opacity of what we're working with. What I want to do is I want to get rid of this little sweep of cloud in my image there. So I'm going to click, hold, and drag to create a circle. Now, the brush that is defining the area to be cleaned up is a red and white dashed circle. When I release the mouse button, I can actually reposition this a little bit better. What's going on here is the application has decided with a green and white dash circle that the pixels here are the best match to go inside there using the healing method. So there's a blending that goes on. If you disagree, put your cursor inside and move over. So if I decide I want to put these clouds in there, if I release and let go, you can actually see the clouds going in there. So obviously that's not a good choice. Just for fun, I'm going to see if I put the headlight of the motorcycle inside there. And if we wait a second, we'll see how that going. So what the application is doing is taking from in there and putting in there. So I'm going to put this back up to where it was before, and now my cursor is a blue and white dashed circle, which will allow me to just kind of move around, select that, and see how I got rid of those clouds by bringing this in here. I could have come up over here and decided to put these guys in. On the count of 1, 2, 3, it should adjust, and there's a blend and all that kind of stuff. I think this is absolutely fantastic. We can use, like I say, the clone or the heal, and you can come in at reduced opacities if that's what you want to do. This is a great feature to have if you've noticed that you have some sensor dust and you have dust spots in the same spot throughout your images. What you would do is apply this on one and then go through and have all your other images lined up down here in a film strip. When you do that, you have a select all and a synchronize. When you click on select all, then click on the synchronize, what you end up doing is applying that effect to each one of those images. If the dust spots are in the same X and Y coordinates in every image, then you should be able to clean up all of them in 1 or 2 or 3 clicks. Absolutely awesome. One question I get asked all the time is, how do I get rid of these things? I want the effect, but I don't want to have this guy showing up. Just grab a different tool. Grabbing a different tool deselects these guys. The effect and the cleanup is still there. We just don't see the circles. Now I want to talk about the red eye removal tool. Red eye removal tool is not necessarily looking for red eyes, those beady little things that we see when we shoot with a flash in low light situations. Red eye removal tool is basically hunting down for red and then going to desaturate that. So over here we have a brush size, pupil size, whatever. I'm going to set that up to the maximum right now, and then we have an option to darken or lighten the gray that gets put inside. I don't have any red eye per se, but I do have a lot of reddish stuff in here, so I'm going to choose here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get this to go to 100% view. And then I'm going to come over here and grab the hand tool, and I'm going to come into my image about here. Then I'm going to grab the red eye removal tool, and I'm going to click, hold, and drag. Release the mouse, and I get this really, really small bounding box thing here. So I have to expand it. So I'm going to expand this up. When I release, you're going to see the desaturation happen. And I'm going to come in here and do this. and then scoot this over this way, and scoot this over this way. Now, we're really seeing a lot of desaturation expand out from this bounding box. I'm wondering if I actually took this back and put it at 50, would we see something a little bit less dramatic? And as you see things update, you'll see that I'm not desaturating so much outside there. I can actually reposition theoretically. There you go, reposition this, and this will update to show you. All right, all I'm trying to show you is the pupil size thing has to do with how much outside of this current bounding box will be affected. The darken, I will come in and show you this. If I put it all the way over to the left and choose to really darken things, we should end up with something a little bit darker. And then if I drag it all the way over this way, theoretically something a little bit, you see, darker goes one way, lighter goes the other. Fooling me this time, are we? Okay, so there you go. So now I'm just going to put that back at its default. Now what I want to do is I want to talk about the darken aspect thing here. So with the darken slider, if I drag the darken slider all the way to the right, the number gets higher, the image gets darker inside there. If I drag it all the way to the left, wait for this operating system to update, then the area gets lighter. It's all a shade of gray. All it's doing is desaturating. There you go. Now, if you don't want to have this go on, just as you did with the target sample points, if you hold down the Alt or Option key and put your cursor inside here, you'll see I get a pair of scissors. If I Alt Option click inside there, I can get rid of that. No problem whatsoever. There you go. That's the red eye tool. Glad you love it.